Welcome to Life Strategies with Nat, where wellness meets wealth. Join me, Natalia Edelman, as we explore powerful life strategies with trailblazing entrepreneurs and business leaders to elevate your lifestyle, boost your business, and ignite your unique brilliance. Welcome, everybody, back to Modern Self Mastery Unleashed. I have Dave Thompson, co-founder of Mindful Warriors, here with us. And he has quite the resume, can I just tell you, because we're going to have Dave back on the show for a series of episodes. He has his undergrad in exercise science, and he has his MBA in healthcare management and a master's in science in healthcare administration. So don't let that negate everything. You're going to be here for a while and you're going to see all of the fun stuff that we're going to get into. And we're going to start today with 5 ways you are killing your brain. What I wanted to just intro to you guys is that this has everything to do with your mindset. The external layer is all about brain and gut health. Your internal layer is mental well-being. And your external or your energetic layer, I should say, is the expansion that you're feeling right now. So if you are here and you are experiencing brain fog, fatigue, tiredness, depression, anxiety, if you feel like you're in a funk, if you are feeling stressed, and let me just caveat that if you are feeling depressed, please go and see a doctor, talk to somebody. But I've got Dave here, and we're going to get into 5 ways you are killing your brain. And then the next time we get together, we're going to talk about 5 ways to supercharge your brain cells. Okay, so Dave, 5 ways you are killing your brain. Let's start there. Number
All
one.
right. Number one is sugar. Sugar, sugar, sugar. Processed sugar. I even believe in a lot of situations, a lot of these synthetic sugars that are out there, your little pink and blue packs. I haven't even used them in so long. I've aspartame and so those things all are neurotoxins. And what that usually does, it's going to decrease your insulin sensitivity. So your brain's not going to take in glucose any longer for fuel. So it just kind of it's saturated. It can't take any more. It can't process it. It's also one of the leading signs of the reason why people have mental decline, like Parkinson's and dementia. They're starting to link it and they're starting to call it type 3 diabetes. It's your brain is basically can no longer process glucose for energy, and it's slowly but surely starving to death. So sugar is number one. Number two, right behind that, is grain flours. So whole wheat, processed flour, like all the ones that are out there, it's going to mimic the exact same thing to your body as sugar. Your body's going to break that down into glucose. And I'm sure you're aware you can get into a big giant bowl of pasta, and before you're done, you got a couple 100 grams of carbohydrates going in one setting. So that's a very it's just tough on your brain when you do that to it on a consistent basis. So a lot of standard American diets here in the US, we call that, like, a lot of people that suffer from this are really they're pre-diabetic and pre-type 3 diabetic, and it's going to lead to a lot of cognitive issues down the road. Number three is seed oils. Seed oils have a lot of polyunsaturated fatty acids in it. It's very inflammatory to your body when it gets out of whack. Omega-6, I'm sure you've heard of omega-6 and omega-3s. Everybody thinks omega-6 and omega-3s are good for you, but in today's normal eating, we have so many more omega-6s to omega-3 ratio. We're just like kind of inflammation time bombs out there, right? Our brains are swollen, our joints are swollen, our blood vessels are swollen. And it's all because we're eating high levels of seed oil. A lot of people don't realize this, but seed oils were made in Canada, but they were made for engine oils. Like, that's what they use them for, mechanical lubricants. And then one day, some businessmen decided to market to the FDA to allow them to start utilizing it for human consumption. And we're looking at about an 80-year experiment on decline in health with the introduction of seed oils into our diet. So a lot of our autoimmune diseases, Once we started introducing seed oils, our autoimmune diseases started catching up right behind it. Number four, lack of exercise or sedentary lifestyle. Okay. Even just going out for a daily 30 to 60-minute walk, even if you don't like working out, is going to improve or is going to increase oxygen to your brain, increase blood flow to your brain, reduce calcification of your brain just from moving and getting your actual blood pumping into your brain. So sedentary lifestyle is a really, really negative thing for your brain. And the fifth thing, processed meats. So not all meats are created equally. Anything that's processed with nitrates or washed with it's like a what's it, nitro nitrosamines is I think the
The term.
the term of what they actually wash it in. It's how they treat it. So meats that are high in nitrates and those types of things. So that's like your deli meats, your sliced meats that you get in the deli. Um, it's your highly processed bacons and um, like your salamis and all those other types of things. Like they have added nitrates, so you have to really be cautious on what you get there. It's not the same as like grass-fed red meat, right? Like, so there's a big difference between processed meat and actual regular meat, red meat or chicken and different things like that. So watch out for the processed meats. I know when I was growing up, like that was like a thing, right? You'd have your ham sandwich for lunch. Like we're really hurting kids when we're feeding them that. So, and on top of that, that's with a big piece of processed grain flour and some deli meat. So we were just literally, I remember eating that as a kid, and I was literally poisoning myself, which I don't think a lot of people realized or understood what we were doing to ourselves. So those are the top five things that are destroying your brain. So if you really want to improve your brain health, cut out a couple of those things and see how you start feeling.
Oh my goodness, Dave. That was super quick and super informative. And I kind of just want, just before we kind of end this episode, I want to know when you talk about seed oils, are you talking about like grape seed, sesame seed, those kinds of seed oils? Because I know that, I mean, I have heard that they have some benefits. So I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that. Like, are all seed oils bad, or are there some that are good that you can maybe find in your grocery store or somewhere else?
So I just highly recommend moving those all out. So your canola oils, your grapeseed oils, they used to be called rapeseed oil. All of this is marketing essentially. So what we've done is we had like propagandic marketing. We had big manufacturers that were making all these different oils and these things for the war efforts, right? Like they needed a
Sure.
lot of machinery and all those types of things. Now they've grown all this crop that they're able to heat. So basically, most of these oils are rancid anyway. They're heated up to extract it, those types of things. Most vegetables don't have a whole bunch of oils in them, right? So a lot of these things are hyper processed. They're really not like these heavy producers of oils anyway. It's super processed, like toxic oils. It's rancid by the time you get to. So I tell people to typically stick with olive oil. That's a low temperature oil. It's super healthy, heart healthy. It's been around for a long time, but you can get rancid oils there too. A coconut oil, basically, oh, you don't want it processed. What is the word that I'm looking for? I don't use a whole bunch of coconut oil anymore, but I'm fine with it. Basically the raw version of coconut. Oh, extra virgin. Sorry. So like you want to look
Oh,
for
yeah.
virgin coconut oil. Same thing with olive oil. I replace a lot of things with grass-fed butter, beef tallow, duck fats. All those things like they've been demonized as like being high in saturated fats, but a lot of studies are now leaning towards that aren't paid for and aren't like backed by a big corporation that's saying, use my product, it's great, right? Like Cheerios has a campaign out there that says it's like super heart healthy and you should be eating it 3 to 6 times a day, right? And we all know like most of that stuff is high in heavy metals. Um, a lot of the other things out there that are just they're loaded with different toxicities that toxins that are sprayed onto grains when they're out there in the fields, a lot of pesticides, a lot of herbicides, all those types of things all they just get sprayed on in this country, especially in the US, which is really a challenge. So there really hasn't, I haven't seen anything out there where people are like, oh, this is a great seed oil you should use. It's just the simple
Mhm.
process of how they get the oil just really makes it pretty toxic.
That's
And like I said,
so,
with omega 6s, that's really the biggest ratio there. Like polyunsaturated fats are very high in omega 6 fatty acids. We used to have pretty close to like a 2-to-1 or 1-to-1 ratio now. Most average humans now, and this is all research in the US. I'm not sure about like in Europe
mhm.
and different places like that. I know a lot of things are banned in other countries there, but like we're at like 24 to 25 to 1. And so omega 6s are responsible for inflammation. Now, it's a good thing. Inflammation is a good thing. It helps you recover faster, right? So it's not always this demon that we should be talking about, but at 24 to 1, it's a demon. It,
Yeah,
it's a it's a monster in your body, and you're just walking around with a really, really inflamed body, inflamed brain. That's what a lot of brain fog and stuff like that comes from. It's just inflammation in your brain. It's just like my knee hurts, so you limp a little bit, right? Brain fog is your brain limping.
that is so fascinating. And I've just never heard it really described like that. And then in terms of like salamis and things like that, because I know I grew up with it in my household. My dad like loved his salamis and all that jazz. Is there any kind of like healthy or non-processed like deli meats, or are they all processed?
So your traditional like hams and turkeys and like pressed chickens, and like that type of stuff is usually gonna be your really loaded ones, right? They're like it's almost like a gel or jelly type of thing, just
Yeah.
smashed together. Like I do know like I've seen people like pastrami and stuff like that, where like they're hanging in their kitchen or in their bathroom, like tubs and stuff like that, letting it age. So I think when you're doing the traditional way, and you're not processing it like a lot of the store-bought stuff is, you can do those types of things. I don't really do a whole bunch of store-bought meat anymore. Like I buy my grass-fed, grass-finished cow from a local farmer. Um, I don't do a whole bunch of honey anymore as is what I used to do. Now but I buy that from a raw honey farmer that's bees are only on wildflowers, not being sprayed with pesticides and herbicides. Eggs I try to get from a local farmer. I get my raw milk from a local farmer. So I try not to do a whole bunch in grocery stores.
Yeah.
I mean, but they're out there, but you still have to like continuing to like source. Where like even a lot of the food companies out there that you see that started off being really, really good are being bought by like your big mega corporations out there. There's 6 major food industries that own everything, and there's a few
Mhm.
hedge funds that own all of them. So there's no real competition. It's just a bunch of marketing, right? It's like Coke versus Pepsi. Coke owns Pepsi, Pepsi owns Coke. There's no competition. They're just trying to get the leftover scraps from who doesn't like Coke to drink Pepsi and who doesn't like Pepsi to drink Coke. It's an illusion of competition. So um, I think a lot of things that we have to take into consideration with food and what we see, a lot of it's marketing.
That's so true. I actually had a really fascinating, or I heard a really fascinating discussion on honey. And I've got to bring this woman in, Paula.
Mhm.
She is, I mean, it was just shocking, everybody. Okay. Was there anything else we wanted to get into? Because the next episode we're gonna get into is 5 ways that you can supercharge your brain. But
No,
before that,
but before that, I think that's pretty good. If you're doing any of those 5 things, I would highly recommend you trying to decrease those or cut those out
okay. So
a
super
little.
easy team. And let us know how you get on. Let us know in the comments how you start feeling a bit different. Do you start to feel more energetic? Do you start to feel more clarity? Do you start to feel less anxious? Just by doing these really simple things, you can really have a significant impact on your day to day. So thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time for 5 ways to supercharge your brain. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.